episode number 78. Just kidding. We're on number 6. Number 6. Kingdom Coffee. Bomb. Hi.
Hi.
We have no painting today.
No
We have a book
painting.
that we'll talk about. Do you want to get right into that, or want to talk about something else? How you doing?
Pretty good.
Pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's it. It's pretty good.
Pretty good.
Pretty good. It's Tuesday. Tuesday morning. We're a little earlier than normal. We have a meeting later. Okay. If we don't, that's it.
How are you doing?
I'm all right. All right. It's been a interesting time.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. But I think we should talk about the book,
Okay.
and then let's see how that goes. And
Okay.
get into whatever else. So this is the book. Anyway, the book's called The Soul of a Feeble, Searching for Truth with Some Friends, Lessons 1 through 20, by me. I'm the author. Anyway, did you have some thoughts?
It's so cool. You gotta show people. It's like little characters, and they teach you important lessons. And it's awesome. It's like the perfect coffee table book. It's a great conversation piece.
Is it a children's book?
I mean, I think it could be.
No.
Depends. No?
No.
Why
There's
not?
literally a lesson called Fuck Self.
I know. That's why I said it depends.
No.
I think some of them are
No.
pretty good. And your cartoons are cute.
Right, but it's not for kids. It's like too complex
Yeah, I guess.
and too high level.
You could teach them the simple form.
It's more of an adult book that's trying to teach lessons in a way that's digestible.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is being fumbly, and you totally were off the mark with that. It's not a kid's book.
It's not a kid's book, but
It's
a
not a
kid could
kid's
read
book.
it.
If a really smart kid.
Yeah.
Can you read it? Like,
Me?
yeah, have you read it and
Yes.
get them?
Yeah.
Could you have read that at 6, 7?
No.
8?
But I should have been taught these lessons.
Well, some of them, yeah. I mean, they're all of them, but they're right. But that would imply that your parents knew those lessons,
Yeah.
and they don't.
Right.
So, and mine didn't either. And so these are okay. Soul of a Feeble. One of the things that I do is try to explain things to other people.
Mm-hmm.
Like really explain real stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And stuff that I've actually dealt with and am dealing with, and I try to. So I'm really trying to figure out. I'm not really trying to figure out life, like what is going on,
Mm-hmm.
especially when it's painful. I tend to lean into that, and so these are lessons that I learned through when I met Sanchez, and we started conversating, and I naturally tried to explain things in stick figures way back. I mean, I have stick figure drawings we have it tattooed on us. I just, it's something I've done for a long time, trying to explain things, and stick figures seem to be a accessible way to get a idea out that somehow makes it visual, gives you a picture of it.
Yeah.
And so in the ministry of trying to help people, there's been people that didn't seem to understand a concept just talking. And so I'm going, well, here's another way. Because I think I can explain a topic to anybody who really wants to get it. Like, if anybody can understand the topic, meaning if I can understand a concept, really get it, then I think I can pass it on to somebody else. Like, as long as the person wants to know.
Mm-hmm.
At least anything I've learned that's valuable. Like, I can pass that on to somebody else as long as they don't have a crazy mental handicap. So some of this comes from there's a stubbornness and unwillingness to learn, and I'm trying to approach it from different ways. The other book, An Uncommon Truth, is the same type of material. It's just distributed in a different way. And our podcast is the Sanchez and I podcast is. So it's the same stuff. It's stuff, I mean, you see it in our home all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Do you, help me out here. What do you, come on.
What?
I don't know. You tell me what you like about this book. Like, not sell it to the person for their coffee table, but what you've looked at it a bit. You saw it. It's like, is it aesthetically? Is it the size? Is it the...
It's the size, yes.
So it's like the size of a coloring book, kind of.
Yeah. It's also just like fun to look at, not necessarily read.
You like the pictures a lot.
I do. I love the pictures. I think they're freaking hilarious.
You're always giggling at them.
Yeah.
So do you know why you like them? They just bring you joy?
They're just funny. Like the eyeballs. I don't know. They're just cute little guys.
Okay.
You just do a great job. It's just, I don't know.
So once I started doing this, we're not talking about hundreds of people. Like, I'm talking about the people that come into my life and pay attention to what I'm saying, and they go, that you got something. People either go, what, you're nuts, and they kind of walk away and they don't say anything, and they're like, this dude's too crazy, extreme, blah, 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 blah. Yeah. Cold, prickly, serious, et cetera, et cetera. Or they pay attention, and they're like, this dude's saying stuff that's true, right?
Yeah.
I wonder what else he has to say.
Yeah.
And through that, they keep coming back and they learn, and I'm constantly going, part of the approach is I am not just trying to be right. I mean, I'm trying to be right, but I'm trying to be right in a way like a scientist or something. Like, I want what I say and think to line up with reality.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
And so if I'm wrong, I want to be corrected. But if I'm right, then you should go, oh, you need to be corrected.
Yeah, which a lot of people don't do.
Right. It's hard. It's an ego check. It's hard for me to do.
Yeah.
At times, I've gotten better at it. So this is the way to figure out anything, is to sort of get self out of the way and focus on it as an object, not attached so personally where you're defending it with your life, which a lot of people do with their beliefs and narratives.
Yes.
And we can get into all that. Anyway, what would happen is people would go, these are good. Oh, and they like light up. They're like, oh, that's really good. These little stick figure lessons. So not everybody, but for the most part. And so then through that, a couple of things, a friend goes, you should name your little guys that you are always drawing. And I went, like, what, like Feeble? And he's like, you nailed it. It was perfect. I'm like, okay.
Okay.
So that's where the name came, that fast. And then with Hayden, who is a digital artist, he's like, we can like run an Instagram and see if this works. So we created an Instagram, and I'd draw these out and keep it within 10 slides and then pass it to him, and he would digitize it, pass it back to me, and I'd post it. And after 20 posts, 20 different lessons, praying, he's like, put these in a book. It'd be cool to see them in a book. You could sell them in the gallery. And it's just a different thing when you have them in a book. I don't know, a book just does something different than Instagram. So it's just another place to get the information and the lessons. And these lessons are solid. They're not hokey. They're not platitudes.
Mm-hmm.
They're things that have actually worked and continue to work and have worked before my time and will work way after my time.
Mm-hmm.
And they're not invented. I'm just trying to explain them in a way that I understand them and trying to help others. Is there a particular lesson that stood out when you read this?
Not really. I think they're all good. I think there are some that that relate more to me, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Like the one about the boundaries one
Yeah.
is very prevalent. Is that the right word in my life? What does that even mean?
Prevalent? A lot of happens a lot.
Yeah, setting boundaries. Yeah, that's the right word. Like we set boundaries to a lot of people.
I guess so. It's not. That sounds weird. We set boundaries to a lot of people.
Well, I mean, we have
Let's explain that. So, I don't even really like the word boundary, but it comes from psychology, and the idea is like, here's a line that if you cross it, we have problems.
Yeah.
In an action you do.
Right.
If you talk bad about me behind my back, I have a problem with that.
Mm-hmm.
So let's be clear. It's like things that cause actual harm to us or our kids.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going, praying about it. That's not okay.
Yeah.
And so in that way, what we're doing is going, if you're going to be in our lives, you can't be stepping on our toes all the time. And if you step on our toes once, you're probably going to do it again in the same way.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about this. And I don't want to harbor ill will. I don't want to pretend it didn't happen. This actually happened. So what part of the lessons in here is how to deal with conflict is to talk about the action, not the character, and go, hey, this action you took, here's how it makes me feel.
Mm-hmm. Here's
what I need to feel when you're around. I don't need to feel unsafe. I need to feel safe. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And so you're saying it's prevalent. It happens a lot. We set a lot of boundaries. That makes us sound like we have some weird way of life in something. And it's like, I don't think that's true. I think what it is a lot of people don't have any clear boundaries. They don't even understand what one is. They choose non-conflict as their boundary or something like we're just not going to talk about anything uncomfortable. That's their boundary. So when we're going, well, our boundary is you can't do this thing, like you can't lie to me.
Yeah.
And their boundary is, or rule is, well, we don't fight. And it's like,
yeah.
Well, I don't want to fight with you.
Yeah.
I just want to not be lied to.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going, too bad. In a whole bunch of bad ways. They go, that's just who I am. Or they gaslight and say, oh, I didn't do that. Lie again, right?
Mm-hmm.
Double down.
Yeah.
And it's this that has caused many problems in relationships. It's like a weeding out process of like, are we going to have a good relationship? Or are we going to have a shallow relationship with no conflict? And I think the people that say no they still have conflict. They have internal conflict. They have conflict all over the place, and they just deal with it in a horrible way. And they're wait till it's all kind of like, there is nobody that actually has no conflict.
Yeah.
They just have avoidant mechanisms built in, and they just live by these things. Anyway, another way to think about this book is it is a way to try to adjust the natural resistance and clogging that humans all have through living life, through being told various partial truths and living through trauma, that sort of the premises that people, all of us, me included, sort of come with built-in narratives that aren't true. No matter where, it's just like, and when something happens, the human mind fills in with a narrative, like it can't help it. And so the only other place I've heard where this goes away in a significant, profound way is when people do psychedelics. So it's like either do psychedelics or you got to do the work of facing these difficult truths sort of sober and let the ego take the hits along the way. So this way is more sustainable. I think it's better. It's more controlled, but it takes longer. It's like you're rewiring your brain slowly over time, like working out, versus like getting plastic surgery or something. Like that, the equivalent of mushrooms or something.
Yeah.
And I don't think mushrooms are absolutely wrong or psychedelic. I think there's a place for them for sure. One of the things that I think is true is the person that's against the idea of, hey, there's something that's not quite right as far as how my mind is thinking through things. They're reluctant to change, so they wouldn't take the mushroom or read the book. That person is less conscious, is what we say, which is an interesting concept. They said what we're doing is expanding consciousness in the book, and what psychedelics do, they expand consciousness. And that sounds like, whoa, expand consciousness. Doesn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, you look at my hand.
Yeah.
I'm handy and processy.
So processy.
Okay, so are you interested in what I'm saying? You yawn and glaze out.
I'm listening.
Okay, so consciousness
Yeah.
is what you're aware of.
Yes.
Just straight, like that's like a definition.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we're talking about awareness of reality, of how things actually are. And so to expand that, you have to become more aware of things that you weren't before.
Yeah.
And there's a way to do that. And the way the book lays out is by seeking objective truth, seeking the truth that is in reality, regardless of my personal bias, my perspective, my upbringing, my belief system, that I'm going to examine things as objects that are separate from me, including my own thoughts and beliefs, and look at them and go, is this valid?
Yeah.
Does it line up with reality?
Yeah.
And this is something that, again, scientists, investigators, detectives do. Anybody who gets good at something does it when like a chef is, they're tasting the food and they're putting it to the background of other things they've tasted and going, is this good? To a standard objective, an objective standard of goodness. So this method is a way to expand consciousness. The same thing happens when you do a psychedelic drug, is it dissolves the part of your brain, or it deactivates, let's say, the part of your brain that holds ego and self and the thing that has all the narratives of self. It sort of dissolves it, and so you can't help in that case but think differently. It automatically expands your consciousness in a way that, like, oh, now I can focus on these things that I wasn't aware of. People talk about seeing God, not being afraid of death. They talk about dying and being reborn in their state. They talk about being able to talk about and look at things that happened in their past that they either repressed, forgot about, or just haven't been dealing with. And they have a new perspective of the whole thing. and this is common, like from well-known celebrities to clinical psychologists, that this is, and it also cures mental illness, like with one dose of this stuff. And my claim is that the stuff in this book is the same type of thing. Cures mental illness.
Which we've seen it do.
Right.
In our own home.
Yes. and one of the reasons that it works, this method, is it recalibrates your brain to reality. One of the things that mental illness does is you can think of it as it's telling yourself lies about reality, and those contradictions to what you're saying to yourself and what actually is happening, they cause problems. Like it doesn't make sense, and then that causes problems. An example would be if this is Graham, our youngest, he runs through the house, trips over something, and then immediately goes, "That's your fault. You put that there," rather than, "Hey, it's my fault." Well, if he runs through life thinking everyone's placing things in front of him, it's going to drive him crazy.
Yeah.
That's mental illness. He thinks that the world's out to get him by placing sneakers and clothes and pillows and things in front of him. So my job is to go, no, let's look at that, replay the tape. You weren't paying attention. You were going too fast. You weren't looking where you're going. The reality is nobody did that to try to harm you. You're not being careful enough. It's on you. Okay, now that stings his ego. He doesn't like that reality, because the ego's job is to protect itself, sort of by all means necessary. Well, that doesn't mean it's right or good. It's protecting itself from any perceived threat. Like Graham thinking he's not very careful, it's a change in narrative. He has to go, wait, I'm not that careful. Maybe I ought to be.
Yeah.
If he's doing the right thing. And then he's walking through the world and not tripping over everything, because he's being more careful. He learned. He's not mentally ill. Okay. That's what I think a lot of mental illness is false narratives and then playing those out. And one of the major ones is, I'm a good person. I'm good. I'm good in my core. I'd never harm anybody. And that is a tough one for people to go, wait, I'm not that good. It's like, let's look at the evidence. If you're good, then all these things that happen, you have to make excuses for that are your fault, but you don't want to admit that you're not that good. And just that base assumption causes so much mental illness. I'm good. So the book's trying to explain the correct assumptions you start with, and then how that actually helps. Because the people that go, I'm good, they think, no, that's a horrible, disgusting way to look at the world. Why would I ever do that? It's pessimistic. That makes me feel bad. That can't be right. How is that making the world a better place? How is that helpful? How is that? What about self-love? What about what? And it's, yeah, but look at the results. You actually have a ton of anxiety. You actually have a lot of depression. You actually have a bunch of broken relationships. You're actually deeply saddened. You're actually very lost. And but you refuse to look at, maybe I'm not a good person. That base assumption, that's so big. And then maybe my parents aren't that good at people. Maybe my siblings aren't. Maybe my friends aren't. Oh, dang. That's a paradigm shift of how you view the world. And nobody wants to admit that. Nobody wants to face that. Even if it's, maybe I'm not as good as I think. Maybe I'm just a little bit good, not a lot good. Maybe that. Anyway, that's what this is doing. That's what's helped lining up with reality. And there's a weird resistance that people have, and the more open, less resistant people are to reality, the faster they learn and the better they get and the faster they heal. And when they fight reality, that's when it's like they're in some sense they can't even be helped. It's like refusing medicine from a doctor or something.
Yeah.
What do you think? What do you feel?
It's true. It's good. I agree.
Do you have any examples of that?
Of
you having a paradigm shift, of you learning something that you didn't want to learn, of you seeing something that you didn't want to see, that made you understand the world better and make you have less anxiety, less depression, less whatever?
Yeah, I don't really have anxiety anymore. I used to a lot. I don't know what.
Stop doing that.
Sorry.
It's ticking on here. I play with that too, though.
When I practice this and I practice being objective with things, I see it a lot more in other people.
See what?
How they're not objective.
Right.
And that happens more in my life than me realizing it in myself. Maybe because I've just gotten better at it, I guess.
Yeah. I've been doing this a long time, right?
Yeah.
You have not been doing it as long as me.
Mm-mm.
Even though we were married in the same house.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Do you remember when it changed for you?
Not necessarily. I think no, not really.
I do. You don't. Okay, so play back the tape. When I first started getting into this, you're like, cool, you found God, that's cool. But the thinking behind it and how I got there, you're like,
yeah,
whatever. You didn't really care or buy into it or think much about it.
Mm-hmm.
Then when there was some major family trauma and split and people were acting all kinds of whatever, that's when I noticed you started really paying attention to, wait a minute.
Yeah.
I really want to figure this out too. What is going on? You're coming to me going, what is going on? I'm trying to explain.
Is this when you're talking about when Ryler left?
Yeah, but not just, that's not just, I mean, it was like your family bounced, my family bounced, Ryler bounced. And that's when you started going, okay, what's up? It's time to like figure this out.
Yeah.
And that's to me when you started getting really good at objective truth. You're way better at this stuff now. Yeah. Than you ever were. And again, resistance. Before you sort of went, what's the big deal? Or I don't care, or I'm happy, or I don't want to think that way, or it's too hard. I mean, it was like when your mom was trying to teach you how to do shirts, and you're like, nah, you just resisted for no good reason. Nah, I don't want to learn. Like, okay, and now you do shirts. Yeah. Right? But because you came to a place like, oh, dang, you act in a gallery where like, I need to figure this out. And you tried it other places. And so that like real life, I need to know this came up. I think that's exactly what happened. You had no perceived need until you did. Until life got so hard where you went, what my tools for coping with this are not up to par. Yeah. And I don't understand it, and it's messing with me. Mm-hmm. And so that's true. Right? Yeah. And now let's process this in a different way. And that's how I learned all this to begin with. It just happened at a young age for me. Young relative to a lot of people. And I remember when I was just out of high school, trauma happened, and I went, I don't know nobody's giving me good answers. Nobody. Yeah. What's going on here? Mm-hmm. None of this makes sense. And it just lasted for years of like trying to, and so I was searching, and that's how I found Sanchez, and Sanchez is going, okay. And he's the first person who went, here's a method to figure out how to tell if something's working or not, and whether it's true or not. Oh, I totally get this. thank you. It was exciting. It still is.
Yeah,
it's still very powerful. It's more powerful than pretty much anything, is trying to figure out the reality of something versus holding on to false narratives.
Yeah.
You got to pick one or the other. You don't get both. So for you, it was cool to see that. I mean, it wasn't cool to see the pain, but it was cool to see the growth. Like, and now you can do it, which is cool. And it makes you go, oh, this has been here all along.
Yeah.
And then you see that you're trying to help people and they're resisting. Mm-hmm. You're like, what the? And you see what I've been dealing with for years and years.
Yeah. But they like, I don't know. Yeah.
What was that?
I don't
You
know.
like yelled. But they like. That hurt.
Oh, no. I was going to say something, but never mind.
Got it. So the book's available on Amazon. The book is available in the gallery. It's called The Soul of a Feeble.
Yes.
By Jesse MacDonald.
I love it so much.
And it's self-published. It's something that I've learned. It actually has a table of contents and page numbers unlike the other book.
Yeah, it's so cool. And there's a shout out to the haters, which I love.
What is the shout out?
Frickin' haters.
Frickin' haters.
What is it? You want me to read it?
Sure.
Okay.
Oh my goodness. Wow. Hurry up.
To the people who I have had to learn the hard way many of the lessons in this book, I wish it were different, but maybe without you, I wouldn't have felt the pain and betrayal and wouldn't have learned the lessons in order to share. Thanks, haters. Love that.
Yeah, I mean, it's every lesson I wish in some way I didn't have to learn it the way I learned it.
Yeah.
If it's a real lesson.
Yeah.
Usually it's through pain.
Yeah.
And me particularly, I learn the hard way a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But I do learn it. I learn it quick, but the hard way.
Come by this. It's so good. I promise.
The plugs.
It is.
Okay. So, business.
Yeah.
It's becoming more and more evident. So we run this business. We run it. We own a business and run a business, and we feed our family with a business.
Yes.
However,
Yes.
we're far from business people. It's bizarre in some way.
Mm-hmm.
I thought you were more of a business person than you actually are, watching you actually operate in here. I'm like, oh, you're just like me. Just a little different.
Yeah.
You're more social media savvy, but not businessy.
No.
There's a very particular type of, I don't know if it's a personality or just a person that seems to thrive and like business type stuff.
Mm-hmm.
The language, the operating, the execution.
Yeah.
And I remember watching Gary Vee, who's like a businessy guy, and he's pretty on as far as truth. I remember because he's trying to be real honest, and he's going, there's a lot of people that think they're entrepreneurs and they're not, and they get hit in the mouth and they're like, oh, and he's like, it's actually very hard to drum up business for any business over and over and over again over time and make it successful. It's really hard. It's a lot of work.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember watching that going, yeah, me, before I even did any of this, was like, yeah, I even DM'd him. I'm like, hey, thank you for showing me that I'm an artist, not a business person. Because I was sort of like thinking like, oh, maybe. And then one of the things that stood out, he's like, for instance, you might be born a 7 out of 10 as an artist, and then you can work really hard and become a 10 out of 10.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what you should do. Like, he's all about like leaning into your strengths. But you might be born a 3 out of 10 as a salesman, and you can work really hard and become a 5. Or you can hire an 8.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, that's it. And I thought you were my 8. And I'm like, fuck. That's fine.
No,
You're
I'm
not an
a
8.
salesperson.
Nah,
Have I ever been though?
Yeah, but I didn't know. I just thought maybe because you talk about it. Oh, I want to. I want to run. I want to have a coffee shop, and I love working with people, and I love it. And it's like, oh, cool. Like, go do that here.
But the service is not business.
No, I totally understand that now.
Yeah.
I get it. I sort of wanted it to be true that it's like, again, one of those narratives. I'm like, maybe I didn't have evidence.
Yeah.
I didn't really I didn't view you in an objective way through business. You never really had tried it. Right? So I'm like, maybe. I'm like, oh no. Now I see it. I'm like, oh no. And again, you're not bad at this position. It's just not what this needs.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or we need another person.
Right.
If you're out there.
Yeah.
And we've had all these people, and it's like, they just think about it so different. But we actually need an operator, an executor.
Yeah.
Someone to do the thing.
Executor. Not
a talker. Not a, here's an idea, you guys go do it. We need someone to execute.
Yeah.
And it's,
and we don't have the money to hire somebody like that.
Yeah, well, I mean, but again, even if we were businessy, you can go, cool. Like, it's not the money. It's really not. It's thinking about it. For instance, the idea already came up. There's somebody out there who's young and into art and also a natural salesperson that wants to figure out how to sell art. Get them in here, commission based only, done, easy.
Yeah.
It's there. They exist 100%. Mm-hmm. But that's the part that's not businessy in you or I. Go out and get them. Well, if you're a person that was a go out and get them type of person, you would be a businessy type of person. Mm-hmm. You go out and make that connection. One of the things about business people that I've noticed is they think about network in a way that you and I don't.
Yeah.
They think about people and as like a resource, which is unnatural to me in a really strong way. I think about people as unique individuals that are an end in themselves that I'm not looking at them to get something out of. Mm-hmm. And I used to think, it's wrong to think of people that way. And it's like, well, the people that are good at this, they seem to be more like, no, I'm trying to actually hook up everybody and link people with the right way. Like playing matchmaker. You like playing matchmaker. Mm-hmm. Just like in romantic world. At least you pretend to like it or think that you like it. Whether you're good at it or not, it's a whole nother thing. Right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's kind of what they're doing. They're playing matchmaker with just like real life professionals and not in a romantic way, like a business way. Mm-hmm. We don't operate. I mean, I'm like the extreme in some sense. I'm extremely not that.
Yeah.
Like I'm way extreme the guy who writes this stuff, thinks about this stuff, ponders this stuff, that comes out of me like no problem.
Yeah.
It's like blah, all day, processy.
Yeah.
Okay, well, the businessy stuff is so not us.
I know.
And that's a reality. And so what that does is it makes this business complete word of mouth and completely at the whim of the ether out there, like the demand and the universe and right. And like I say the universe in a way that I'm not talking about God and his hand. I'm talking about just how people free will interact.
Yeah.
And we're sort of just like, it'd be like if we're in the middle of a desert and the thing that we need are, what are those dust balls that roll through? Tumbleweeds. We need tumbleweeds. Like that's how we live. We eat tumbleweeds or something. So we're in a desert and we want tumbleweeds. And we just sit in our spot and wait for a random tumbleweed. Oh, there's one. Sweet. And then like 2 weeks go by. There's no tumbleweed. No, there's no. Okay, what a business person does is go, let's set up a gigantic funnel that goes like out in both directions that all tumbleweeds will tumble through our area so we can just like feast on these tumbleweeds. And like, we do not funnel. Mm-mm. I understand the concept. I just am like, that I'm no, I need to go make a painting, a thing, a drawing, like that's what I need to do. Somebody else funnel for me. That's what your job's supposed to be. But you're like, I don't funnel. Like, sweet. And we're like on a wilderness trying to survive. And like, I don't fish. Do you fish? Nope. Shit. There's a lake. We're just going to sit here and starve. Maybe a fish will jump up on land and into our mouths. It's something weird like that. So we need a solution, or we're going to have to stop doing this, is the reality.
Yeah.
And it's just enough to keep like people encourage them. They want it to succeed, but nobody, again, it's ideas, but we need boots on the ground. We need somebody, like, you got to do the idea.
Yeah.
Don't tell us to do the idea. You do the idea.
Yeah.
Create a funnel for us.
Yeah.
Any funnel creators out there? Because it's like, I mean, the theory I get, I'm like, oh yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
But I resist it because it like doesn't excite me. It's like understanding that I told someone this and I probably hurt as the guy we're gonna meet with. I was like, yeah, it's like how a toilet works. I don't want to know.
Yeah.
I don't want to know how a toilet works. I don't care. Even though I don't. Someone else deal with that. That's how business is to me. So here's the big, like, what the heck are you doing being in a business then? And I'm going, like, I was called here. That was weird. What are you doing? I didn't mean
to do that in there.
What are you?
Taking a deep breath. This is stressing me out.
Just talking about it?
Yes.
How about through your nose? Not through your mouth.
I know.
You're mean. It's cool. Okay. Can we talk? Let me process. Why you don't process and breathe and breathe through your mouth. Here we go. Uh-oh. You gonna crawl on the bottom here and we be done again? Yeah, that's what you do. Your whole body will slouch down. It's your Nantucket. It's okay. So we're called. Well, the claim is this: we're called by God to do this. That despite our shortcomings and despite we're not really made for this in a lot of ways. Like, made to be an artist, me, yes. You made to support me, yes. Made to
do nothing.
No. Host, serve, like, be a beautiful face that beautiful. I was like thinking pretty, beautiful, beautiful. Oh, you. Real support, real encouragement, real belief in what I'm doing, what we're doing, right? And loyal and all that stuff. And you haven't always been that as far as understanding the art, but you have been that as far as, like, I trust that you're hearing God and I trust you. And so I'm going to trust the process, even though I totally don't get it. You haven't got it for a long time, and you've gotten it more now. You're like, oh, I see what the hell you've been doing. Yeah. But I didn't get it.
Yeah.
Okay. So, correct. And you still at times are like, what are you doing? Right. And then, oh. So, but you are more of a believer now. Okay. So we're called to this, and we even have some beautiful support. You call them angels, the people that own the building. Like, they're very supportive. They're very amazing. Like, people are really rooting for us, and we want to succeed. And I don't want to fail at this. Yeah. And there are a lot of things I'm willing to do, and it's not for lack of effort or working hard or whatever. But at the end of the day, it's follow God. And so for instance, this week we're going to do a 50% off. And you said all art. It's art, furniture, which is art. It's anything in here besides books and merchandise, T-shirts, etc. But prints, paintings, sculptures, furniture, like 50% off. And we were like going to do it all businessy and market direct, and it's like just 50.
Like what people have been saying,
Yeah.
like you should do something for your clients, and it's
like
like we
repeat
started,
referral.
but it just like felt weird. It
Yeah,
didn't
so it's
feel
like we're not gonna
right.
do it, and then the call's like, nah, don't. Like, and again, could be us. Could be like God's like, yeah, I get it. You guys are too weak. Or it could be, yeah, you don't need to be what everyone says.
Yeah.
Just keep being good followers,
Yeah.
and I'll take care of it. Like, okay,
Yeah.
but have you seen our bank account, God? You say you're gonna take care of it. End of the month, yeah, 7 days away, and we ain't there yet. Come on.
Go on, God.
Come on, God. So that's what we're dealing with, but we've been dealing with it a long time. It's just sometimes it gets tighter, and it's like a more of a test of faith. It's more of a like showing a weakness. Like I've been squirrely lately.
Yeah.
That you haven't seen in recent memory.
Ever.
Okay.
Ever.
In recent memory.
Ever.
Whatever.
Bruh.
Okay,
ever.
fine. Oh, you've never seen ever. I'm so freaked out that I'm eating like I told Peanut, and he's like, bro, that's like a suburban house mom dessert. Like a bottle of wine and a carrot cake.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, that is thank you for emasculating me like that. So yeah, I had like a half a carrot cake and a bottle of wine. Like, and I'm just like, feel like hell doing it.
Yeah.
And I'm a little bit unhinged. I'm feeling a little bit like this is getting scary.
Yeah.
And I have a high tolerance for scary as far as following God so far.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm getting a bit unhinged. Like this is, analogies like, it's as if you're going off a ramp, like on a motorcycle, and you're doing a circle, and you're gonna land on the other side, a big old giant jump, and you're doing like a backflip, and like I've never landed it, and I've never even tried it, and I'm like, I can see the thing, and I can tell I'm short. I'm like, I'm short. Like, I'm not going to make the ramp. And God's like, don't worry about it. And I'm like, are you going to give me wings? Are you going to, like, put a trampoline under me? Are you going to put a parachute? Like, what? It's not. I'm not making that. I can see.
Yeah.
God, you know how this works.
Yep.
And that's what it feels like.
I
as
actually
of late.
am not, which is odd. I don't feel that at all.
Nothing.
Like, I know it's tight, and I know, like, we have literally no money for next month, but I'm not.
You're not
worried.
Yeah, but you've never actually. You don't see it like I see it, because I do the bills.
Yeah.
Like, so I've seen what the bills have looked like over the last 10 years or whatever.
But you do the bills and I spend the money, and I'm gonna have no money to spend.
Yeah,
and
but that's
like,
always been that. I'm saying you don't see. It's a little bit like I see the gas tank. I see the levels in the tank, and you just squirt it into your car.
Yeah.
And you listen to me when I go, hey, tighten up a little bit, or go ahead. You're like, see. And I've been like, hey, tighten up. But I know what the reserves are, the tank, right? So I've been watching that, and it's like, this is the lowest the tank has ever been. It's like air is coming out of it. Squirt. I'm like, goodness. So you don't, that's what I'm saying. You might feel different if you saw the tank. And I've been watching it and have like, I've seen the tank over the years, and it's like, what the drought. So it's just super scary.
Yeah.
And so I'm being tested in that way. And I don't want to sound like a freaky cult leader, like the Mormon TV show that they're just like, this is a test. And it's like, nah, bro, you're just freaking out. You're off as hell. Right? I'm like, I'm being, some of my comfort and faith is being like, okay.
Yeah.
But I also have real stuff that has happened that didn't seem to work out with the call. A couple of like, what was that, God? Mm-hmm. And Peanut did good. He's like, yeah, but even with those, the track record's like phenomenal. Right? Like, you've been following this for years and a lot.
Yeah.
And it's like
You only have,
high.
like, 2.
Yeah, a couple that were like, what the hell is this?
Yeah.
And even I pray about those, God's like, yeah, but those actually count as 100%. I'm like,
Yeah.
fine. You're God, you win. So, yeah, when I pray, I get, don't worry about it. But me being in this position, a human, I start hearing my mom and her you're reckless, and her over there like, I told you so. And I'm like, fucking don't make me have to.
I know.
Don't
I
make
think
that kind of shit. The haters, like,
Yeah.
they're waiting
I know
for
they're
us
watching.
to go,
Yeah.
I told you.
Yeah.
You should have never quit your job. You
Yeah.
sold your house. That was so dumb. I knew it. These are the consequences I was talking about. And I want to be like, don't make that. But again, that's chatter I shouldn't be listening to or being afraid of. And that's not the highest worry. It's just one.
Yeah.
The real
that
is
would really suck.
The real is like, I don't know, that it just doesn't work, and the consequences, we don't get to do this anymore. We don't have the privilege of doing the podcast anymore. We don't have the privilege of
podcasting here.
Yeah,
You can still
right.
do the podcast.
Yeah. Oh, cool. Coming from our desert backyard, our clutter fest in Orangevale backyard that's not pretty at all. So,
For real.
this is my wife, the waitress, and I'm a construction worker. We no longer believe in God, and here we are. It's like that's like what I mean. Some of the reason people listen to us is like, oh, you must be doing something right. Look at this place. Like, yep, we're dope. Like, they don't know. If you saw where we live and our bank account, they'd be like, what?
I know.
You guys are nuts.
I know. Totally.
Like, yep. Either nuts or we're out here with God. And God is guiding us through some treachery and some very thin ice. And if we went on our own, crack. I know for a fact we would not be doing this if we were not fully committed to following the Holy Spirit.
Yeah. Like
100%.
I don't even want to be doing this. Like,
yeah.
This is not what I want to do.
That's right. Me either. I don't even know what I want, but I don't want to feel like this.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. What we want went out the window a long time ago.
Yeah.
And the other thing is what we wanted, we got and didn't like it either.
Why is this so wobbly? It's
'Cause-
like started like.
Because it's loose. Oh my goodness. So, to clarify, it's not what we would choose or want,
Right.
and even, but are extremely grateful.
Yeah.
But it's just like, it's not, it's really cool, but it's like, it's not even sort of as successful as we like it to be. And it's not the exact. Don't you dare. Wow. Good thing this is way late in the podcast. No one's watching this far. You need to stop. You need to cry. Just let it out.
No.
Just cry.
No.
Yeah. Okay. You wanted we wanted a dope house in Orangevale, a dream home. We got it.
Mm-hmm.
And we hated it.
Yep.
We felt trapped. We didn't
Yep.
hate it, but we felt trapped, overwhelmed. We didn't have any money to spend on it.
Yeah.
So then we're like, well, screw that. Owning our own business is dope. Like, okay, yeah, in some ways, but also like, man, this isn't that. Like, nothing's easy, and nothing seems like, and this isn't our natural lane to run a business like this. Again, maybe there are businesses you don't have to be as markety. Like maybe like, again, I don't know how much sociology is doing marketing wise, but they're doing really well. I think it's more word of mouth, location, and they have a really good product.
Yep.
And so it's like we have word of mouth, location, and a really good product too, but we have a product that people don't buy in volume.
Yeah.
and a very select few buy actual art for their walls. And value it in that kind of way. So our slice of the market's just tiny. What was that? You just smiled in a
because I was thinking of
you
the
farted.
thing.
Oh, that I got you. What? I just got stuck trying to say something, and that's what you picked up on. Come on, it didn't flow out. Anyway, what do you have to say about that?
About what?
I don't know. This is not what you picked. What would you pick?
Oh, I like being in the service industry,
You'd rather be a waitress or something, barista,
yeah,
that kind of thing.
yeah,
right. And you were for a while, and you loved it. And
I like fast-paced, busy.
Yeah,
that's what I like.
Right, and with people.
Yeah,
and we're trying to make that here, but just like it's like never that. Yeah, hardly ever.
Which I mean, like an art gallery is probably never going to be that unless you have events.
But then throwing events becomes a thing, and getting the word out and getting people to show up.
Yeah.
And they've been very successful. It's just it seems so daunting every time. Like I think, it's gonna get easier. It's like every time it's like this daunting, this weird resistance to it that I have personally, which.
It's also weird that like we have ideas and they seem to be good ideas, but like God doesn't want us to do them.
Yeah, that's constant though. That's not weird. Like because I'm an artist, so I have like a zillion ideas all the time, and often it's like
bringing people in here though.
Right, but again, like the book, there's a bunch of ideas to promote that, get that out, and it's like no. It's been that way. That's not new in my world. For you, it's weird that you're going, it seems odd that God is putting the veto on some things. I mean, he put a veto on this whole space at some point. And maybe he was saving us from this. Yeah, it's like...
I don't think he would do that.
Oh, stop it. I'm just saying that there's... Trying to get in the mind of God is like not what our job is. And it's not weird that it's no to certain things. I get it from the outsider it's like he's not letting us be successful.
I just had a random idea.
Oh my, you listen so well. Cheers to that.
I just had a random idea.
Okay. you didn't
what if
cut
we
me off. You
what
get
if
that, right?
Yeah, sorry.
And you weren't listening.
I had to spit.
Just get it to it though. It's fine. I'm just processing over here. They're probably like, that cold prickly motherfucker needs to shut up.
Seriously. Thanks, Kim, for shutting him up. What if we do, you know how you were talking about serving like nicer dinners or something like that? What if we do like just like open reservation? If you ever want to come in with your significant other or family, like it's by reservation only, so we know how many, like, hey, I want to bring my family in this weekend for a dinner, and then it would be like, oh, okay, we're going to be cooking for 7 people on Saturday night.
Right, but you would have to have people know about that. It's the same with events.
Yeah,
it's the exact
but it's
same.
Different. It's
no, it's the same. What I mean, I understand the idea. The idea is
we're open 7 days a week to serve you food in our gallery. Call us if you want to make a reservation.
Yes, and that is a lot like an event. In that, we're open for events, but nobody books them.
But we're also like, it's like thousands of dollars to rent our space.
Okay, well, how much would a dinner be?
I don't know.
I'm not doing it for no cheap number.
Like $100 a person? I don't know.
Okay, but you get what I'm saying. It's a good idea. Yes. What's difficult about that idea is the same thing that's difficult about an event, which is to get people to actually do it.
Yeah.
That's hard. That's the part that's like, again, we would never do that.
Yeah.
Because we're broke all the time.
Yeah.
And money is like, we don't have a lot of discretionary
But we
income.
would love to do that if we had the money to go somewhere cool and have some fancy chef cook us bomb food. Like that one place in Maine.
Yes.
Or
Right.
wherever that
Yes.
was. Like,
'Kay.
if we had the money, we would totally do that.
Right. But there's a couple things. Number one, I'm not a chef. Number two.
Yes, you are.
No.
Yes, you are. You're not a professional chef,
Yeah.
just like you're not a freaking...
I'm a professional artist. I do get paid by people to do this. I've never been paid to do food.
Trained. I meant
Okay,
trained
not
chef.
trained, yeah.
But
Okay.
you are a chef.
Okay.
Yes, you are.
Okay, fine. I'm going to give you this just to not have to argue with you. What I'm saying is it's still like the artist is going to cook me dinner at a spot just for my family. And then it's like this.
But we could have other people coming in at that night.
Right. Well, we'd have to have how many head maximum. And
Yeah.
right. I understand the concept. I get it. It still has to, like, on paper play out and be worth the time. And that's a lot to...
Yeah.
Cooking food for 12 people is different than 6. It's a whole nother thing because you're getting paid to do it. Get people in here that paid good money to have you do this thing. And it has to be the call to do it. Because all of a sudden I'm chefing and I'm not painting. Which, again, I'm not opposed to doing I do all kinds of stuff all the time. I draw, I paint, I sculpt, but it's another art that's like, okay. And then people are already confused about our brand. What do you guys do?
For real.
We throw events. We do metal woodwork. We do commissions, but only sometimes. Right? Like, where did you come from? Right? Our brand is in a transition.
What about, like, I have this other weird, what about just like our clients, like inviting them one by one to come have dinner with us here and you cook? What about something like that?
Yeah, that's different if it's paid. Hey, we invite you, but you got to pay.
No, for free.
Well, that's a whole nother
Like
thing.
Mia and Michael, like,
Yeah.
hey, come have dinner with us at the gallery. Jesse's going to cook. We're going to sit here, have wine, and just hang out for a couple of hours. Thanks for supporting us. Like, they're cool. They would be fun to hang out with.
I agree, but that's a whole nother lane. Talk about
Too personal.
it's not too personal. It's just like, that's a lot of, it's moving from client to friend, and it's starting to get into talk about customer retention, or I don't know.
I just love, like, our client. Like, I don't think we have any that we're kind of like, ugh.
No, they're awesome.
Yeah.
In general.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. That's something we could think about. We're like trying to hash out ideas.
I know. It just like popped into my head.
They're not bad ideas.
Okay. We have a 10 o'clock meeting.
You have good ideas. What time is it? Oh,
9:45.
sheesh. Okay, bye.
Bye.